Hey guys, it's William. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Are you worried for the sake of your autistic child's future? Are you worried about them getting hurt, bullied, or discriminated against? Then you're going to want to sit down and listen through this entire video. But before we do that, if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so that you don't miss out on any of the latest updates from me. And now on to the presentation. So when a parent is expecting, they have this perfect future all planned out for their child. My baby is going to make a lot of friends. My baby's going to be valedictorian. My baby's going to be a millionaire. Okay, maybe not every parent thinks that, but you get the gist of it. As a parent, you want what's best for your child, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to ensure that they are safe and growing naturally. Then when your child is born, it's beautiful, it's perfect. Months later, you begin to suspect that something is different about your child. Your child is doing things in a specific order, or your child is not responding to when his name is called, or your child is behaving in an unusual manner. So what do? You seek out early intervention. Most parents would go to their doctor first, who would then refer them to a psychiatrist or an educator. Then here comes the big heartbreaker. Your child is autistic. And instead of getting the help and support that you need, you instead get stabbed in the back and betrayed by a group of people that you sought help from. Now you're emotionally conflicted and can't help but worry about what's going to happen to your child. So in this video, I'm going to be covering some tips on what to do to help reduce your worries for your autistic child's future. Number one, you need to understand what is worrying. Worrying is not trusting that everything is going to be okay. Now, it's okay to worry about certain things to like a certain degree, just as long as you're handling the situation and not being stuck in a loop of fear doing nothing. For those of you who have never followed me or never seen any of my videos, I am a Christian, and I listen to the Christian radio station K-Love every day when I'm out going for a drive. And there is this Christian rock artist, Zach Williams. Zach Williams has a song called Fear is a Liar. So when you start worrying, why is it that you don't believe that everything is going to be okay? Why are you listening to all the thoughts telling you that you can't raise your autistic child, or that your autistic child will never be good enough? Now, I understand completely that it's hard to ignore what a group of professionals say, especially when they specialize in special needs. But can they predict the future? I mean, how well do they even know your child? How much time have they spent with your child compared to the amount of time that you've spent with them? Is it fair of them to assume that your child will not grow and mature into a more evolved person than what they first see? Yes, there are doctors that have diagnosed patients with cancer and have given them a specific amount of time left to live. But autism isn't a four-letter word for good reason. Autism isn't static, and neither is your child. There are even patients that have survived cancer. Yes, your child is going to run into barriers due to having autism, but who doesn't run into barriers? Yes, your child may function differently than most typical others do, but you don't want your child with his or her own unique gifts to just be changed, just so that they fit into a mold that's similar to others. So don't take a label as the end of the world. Number two, ask yourself, where does worrying get you? Now, my biggest problem with worrying is that I'm looking too far ahead into the future and trying to be prepared for the worst possible outcome or planning on how I can avoid it. Oftentimes, I think to myself that if God sees my worries and knows my heart, He will be persuaded to magically solve all my problems. Of course, my version of being helped is different than God's. So with all this worrying built up, how is it working out for you? Is it helping? Are you taking action to remedy the problem, or are you magnifying the problem? Oftentimes when people are overcome with worrying, they end up doing something that they'll regret. So remember, worry does not add value to the situation, nor does it decrease. However, if anybody who watches this video believes in the law of attraction, you're more likely to attract more problems if you set your mind to worrying. Number three, have faith. Faith is trusting that everything is going to be all right when there is no evidence to support that. If you don't see the results you want at a specific moment, don't lose faith. In the book of the Old Testament, Joseph spent 13 years in slavery, and he was an innocent victim. He could have given up hope long ago after waiting for so long. But he kept his head up high and trusted that God was going to make all things right and that God had a plan for him. Now, if you also think about the American businessman Chris Gardner, who was portrayed by Will Smith in the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, he struggled with homelessness while raising his son, and eventually he became a billionaire. There's another Christian song by Elevator Worship. It's called I'm Gonna See a Victory. There's this verse that says, "You take what the enemy meant for evil and you turn it for good." Every time when something awful happens to me, whether it's my fault or somebody else's thought, I think to that verse and I know that things are going to work out. Not my way, but God's way. So remember, your child is not an accident by God, and He has great plans for your child. Number 4, ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? What's the worst that could happen when your child is autistic? He may be bullied by peers in school. He may be mistreated by teachers. He may never graduate from school. He may never be independent. He may never be able to get or hold a job. So what if any of those outcomes do happen? What can you do about it? Well, you're going to have to cross that bridge when you get to that. And boy, did I always hate it when my mom said that every time when I asked for things. But until you reach that bridge, what's the point of dwelling on those thoughts? Is it because you're in a hurry to get to that moment so that you can take care of it and be done with it? Or do you feel like that there's no point to having a fun or good day just because this worst case scenario is going to take away your joy? Well, that's a choice that you're going to have to make. Do you want a stressful incident that hasn't happened yet or not guaranteed to happen rob you of your joy? So just tell yourself, if it happens, we'll figure it out and it will all work out. Number 5, look into testimonies. If you ever need inspiration or encouragement, I would highly recommend that you look into testimonies of people who have been in your shoes and have faced similar situations as you are currently facing. Take me, for instance. When I was diagnosed at 4 years old, I was suspected to never graduate or be independent, and now I have a master's degree. And I'm educating people about the subject, and I am making content, and I'm coaching people. You can also find powerful testimonies on TED Talks. You can also listen to Christian testimonies. You would not believe the stories that I have heard in Celebrate Recovery from people who have hit way beyond rock bottom, but rose up and became amazing. If this is not enough to convince you that there is a powerful God out here who has the best interests in mind for you, then you might as well just stop watching this video. Number 6, give up control. One of my favorite prayers, the Serenity Prayer, opens with, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and proceeds with living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace. You cannot control what hasn't happened, and you can't control what has already happened. Whose fault is it that your child has autism? Was it inherited from you or the other parent? Was it caused by the vaccines? You don't know. Nobody knows. Could you have prevented it? The only way I know for sure is that you could have prevented it if you had never conceived a child. But there's no way you can predict that your child is going to be autistic before it's born. Did God make your child autistic? I can't answer that. I only know that good things come from God. Did God create your child? Absolutely. Did He create your child for good things? Absolutely. Did God make your child autistic? I don't know. What I do know is that there is nothing that God cannot use for His full glory. So it's not going to do you any good to wonder what could have caused your child to be autistic. So that's what I have to say about giving up control about the past. But there's also giving up control about the future. Can you change the fact that your child has autism? It's never been confirmed that there is a cure for autism, but I'm 32 years old and I still have struggles due to being autistic. And I don't think I can change them. I can learn and improve, but it's not going to do me any good to play out scenarios in my head and come up with a solution ahead of time. So take a break from dwelling on what you could have done to prevent it, or preventing what you think will happen, and focus on the present. Number 7, self-care. This is something that I cannot stress enough about. You have to take care of yourself. You're not going to be able to help your child if you can't help yourself. Plus, if this worst case scenario is going to happen, Your child needs you to be strong, physically and mentally, to be present and giving. There are many forms of self-care, like exercising, journaling, yoga, meditation, reading, teas, essential oils, or warm baths. Just take care of your health for yours and your child's sake. I hear from a lot of people that they don't have time to work out or do activities, but they obviously have more than enough time to complain and worry. What baffles me is that people don't have the time to take care of themselves, but they do have the time to degrade themselves. Some people will say that they lack motivation. Well, there's going to be many instances where you cannot rely on motivation, because some days you're not going to have any motivation, but you got to make yourself do it anyway. It's called self-discipline. So please reject the excuses and accept the results. And lastly, number 8, get support. Nobody wants to be alone. Having a good network of friends and family that care about you can really help take a load off. It might be most helpful to talk to other parents who have had similar experiences in this field. There is also nothing wrong with seeking professional counseling. You can also hit me up too. If you go to my website and then go to the contact section, you can fill out the intake form, or you can set up a coaching session with me and then we can talk further. If you made it to the end of this video, that means it was helpful. If not, well then I applaud you for taking the time to watch this video. Just remember, you are not alone in this. If you experience any type of worry, take action. Tony Robbins said that emotions are called to actions. Cast your worries and anxieties over to God. Get support, take care of yourself, and put things into perspective one day at a time. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. Again, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification icon. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will see you all in the next video.